hopefully there's enough lighting in here. I'm gonna try to get this on camera as best as possible. So I'm doing the 300 Blackout long range shooting project. So essentially I'm trying to get 300 Blackout to shoot more consistently so we can get out the longer ranges. One of the things I'm gonna be testing out, don't mind the dog, is neck turning. So I bought this KM Precision Shooting Products. It is a neck turner kit. So I'll probably do a review or something over this later. This isn't about necessarily how I'm doing it, but how essentially effective this is. I've already turned 2 necks and this works extremely well. So the first thing I'm gonna do, if I can, now I've been doing this in my lap, so I'm gonna try to hold this and do it. Hopefully I can get it on camera. So I've already measured this one. I'm getting anywhere between a little under 11.5 and a little over 12.5. So about just a little over 1/1000th of play. See, that's 12, and I'm turning it just a little bit at a time. I want to get as accurate as possible. So that one's 11.5, a little under 11.5, a little under 11.5, a little under 11, a little over 11.5. And I've seen some people do this where they do like quarter turns, but I want to get a really good idea of every spot I can on here. So that's a little, that's almost 11, it's just hair over 11. And that's just right under 12. That's right at 12. And 12. That's over 12. So I got a little bit over 12 and then a little bit under 11.5. So a little over overall. A little over half a, I'm sorry, I'm not really good with the measurements. So I'm assuming 3/4 of a thousandth, whatever that is. Sorry, I'm a shooter, not a machinist. There's a little about 11.5. So I got a little under 1/1000th of a play on this on the run out. So there is all kind of little things that go to this, but I already have a Vlll, some Vlll equipment that works really well for this. This has its own sizing die that sizes the neck. That's just a little bit under this, and it said in the instructions that it's done, so there's just enough spring back of the brass, which I forgot to do these, so let me go do those real quick. Let me go size these and I'll be right back. Okay, back to it. So I do have, just to kind of show you, these are really clean. Let me show you how it looks when it's cut. It cuts extremely well, like extremely well. There's no burrs, ridges. I mean, it looks polished. So this thing does really well. All right, so this is just a little tool that made by Vlll for trimming, but it grips on here really well. So I've already actually got all this set. So maybe in the future I'll do that, but you see it goes on here nice and tight. The kit that this comes with, it has basically this same thing. It's a little different, but I see a lot of people actually putting this on a drill. So I want as much precision as I possibly can, and I would assume that a drill has a lot of, I don't know what the term would be, wobble or warble in the shaft of the where you insert the bit, and to me it just seems like you would get too much play in it. So I actually have just doing these by hand, and the way I've been doing it is just a little bit at a time, and I run it until I don't get any more resistance, and then I add a little bit more. So I'm not going to record doing this whole thing. I'm going to fast forward it. got it all nice and clean, as you can compare one that is and isn't done. Just how clean it looks. There's not really any kind of ridge or anything from where it did or didn't cut. I mean, it is solid. Okay, so let me try this one more time. So we were in the, I think I had 11.5 to 12.5, something like that. I don't remember. Let's see what we're at now. So this isn't so much on how thick it is, but how even it is all the way around. 10, 10, barely over 10, not even a hair. Barely over 10, 10, a little bit over 10, just a hair over 10, 10, 10, so far everything's pretty much right at 10. It's just a hair over in a couple places, and I mean just bare. It's just enough to be off at the 10 mark. There's a couple that was right under, I would say in between 10 and 10.5. There's 10. So as you can see, this thing's pretty effective. So it's significantly better. I mean, significantly better. So on with the 300 Blackout long range challenge. So I'm gonna go back to essentially the drawing board, load up a few more rounds. I'm gonna do double checking the powders if you're paying attention to the journey. I had a couple that just, I don't know what happened with them, so I'm gonna double weigh my charges. I've got an electric one and a manual one. I'm gonna load up 10 rounds of each one of the ones I've already done that I know that are consistent and work pretty decent. And then I'm going to do 10 of each one of those with turned case necks and see if I get any difference out of that. The next step would be to do both of those exact same things again, but potentially using Magnum, small rifle Magnum, to see if I get more ignition in the cases or with the powder, and then compare that doing with and without turn necks and see what happens.